Welcome back, you guys. Tonight we're going to be working on the Springfield Hellcat. Now, I know over the last several months, we've had a lot of people reach out to us, ask us, are there other services that are offered? Are you thinking about just doing something a little bit different, something we haven't seen before? And if you do, please let me know. Well, we ended up having a customer that really was just, hey, take your time. I want to send it in. I really want you to just do your thing. And I want to see what it comes out looking like. I want to be wowed. Build me something that's crazy that we just don't normally see on the Hellcats because they're so small. So thought it was a good opportunity to put a video together, show all the other people that haven't decided to send it in or are unsure what can be done, just to demonstrate a little bit more what can be done. Now, one of the things I want to kind of just briefly give you a warning of at the beginning is, since this is somewhat of a freedom build, we've put a budget on it, it's really just my say what goes, really don't have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to just kind of give you some check boxes here of the things that I'm after. I don't 100% know how that service is going to lay out exactly yet, or what that means, because sometimes we'll build a certain portion of the project and then I'll take a look at it and then I'll go a different direction. So I'm just going to kind of tell you what I'm thinking and we'll go from there. So first and foremost, I want to see some barrel out through the sides because we do have barrel work that's going to be going on as well. So some sort of a window over here would be real nice. One of the issues that you have on this particular model is there's a serial number up here. Now, we don't have an issue with removing the serial number. What we have an issue with is how do we gracefully do that and make it look correct. So what we don't want to do is cut a window too close to the barrel and have an issue. We don't want to cut all the way up into the front and have some sort of a problem up there. So it just kind of turns out being one of those, you know, we've got to come up with something that will mask that and or remove that serial number so it looks really nice. I definitely want to do a Cobra nose on here, so we're going to see some barrel. Definitely going to have some sort of a top window. I want to do the side windows first and then kind of just piece everything around it to see what would flow with it or what will kind of match it the best on the top. So I don't know if we're going to do just a standard top window like we do now, and we're going to work more towards that barrel work, or if we're going to actually change that top pattern altogether. Maybe we'll go with something like a knurled on the top for the glare reduction. So there's definitely a lot of options. First and foremost is going to be to get those windows in there, and then what do we have left that we can do? Okay, so we're going to take this down. So that's kind of going to be it for the slide. We're not going to do anything over the rear serrations. The channel is somewhat thin down and through here. Okay, so we don't want to go over top of the channel which goes onto the frame because you're always taking a chance that you might break something and or damage something. So we're going to leave this back zone alone. Of course, it's already optic ready. It has the Shield SMSC already on there, so there's nothing we can really do there. Let's talk about the barrel. So one of the things that we want to do with the barrel is we definitely want to do a pattern on the round part. Now this is definitely a small barrel. We don't have a lot of meat or a lot of area to work with. So we want to make something that's pretty detailed. Haven't decided what we're going to do with that just yet, but we're definitely going to be doing some kind of a pattern on the round part. I think we're going to end up going with probably a polished finish. These are actually a stainless barrel. They're black nitride, and then of course they polish the feed ramps on these and they're stainless. So we're probably going to do a strip of the black nitride. We're going to go with all polished. I don't know what we're going to do as far as the top of the barrel goes. We may approach that, we may not. As far as the slide goes, we're definitely looking for barrel exposure here because we want to be able to see some barrel up here towards the front, and then we want to be able to see it on the top as well. I don't know what we're going to do for the coating on the slide yet either, so I want to get a lot of this stuff kind of ironed out and back onto the table, and then, you know, what colors would go great with each other. Do we want to go the solid color? Do we want to go the battle worn, or something maybe a little even different than that we're looking for? So that's kind of the point, or the point in the direction that we're going in here, guys. I understand it's super vague. Keep in mind, it's a whole new pattern that we're going to be working on. So once again, it's kind of a building block. We're gonna start with one step and we're going to build off of it to take us to the next step and to continuously go through the project to where we want to get to at the end. So let's go ahead and get these front windows knocked out, and let's just see what we come up with as this project unfolds. right, guys, let's take a look and see exactly how this came out now that we are all back together. Let's talk about some of those hurdles. And I'm going to be honest with you. You know, these weapons are just so small. They've got serrations on the front, serrations on the back, writing on the top. Hurdles are just all over this place. I do want to discuss some of those with you guys. I know that we've done a video, and I've done several of these slides in the past. Each and every time I'm just totally psyched. I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Then we get into the build, and I'm like, oh, I forgot we have this, and we have this, and we have this. And before you know it, you just start kind of working around all those issues until you figure out what you want to do. So let's discuss the work that was kind of performed. Then we're going to go into why we didn't do certain things, and just kind of give you guys a better understanding of that. So first and foremost, we ended up cutting a single side window with a double step down. So basically a step down, and then a window is what you see here. It's a multi-step pattern. We will include some pictures as always. The side window comes all the way back to what would be the end of the middle serration. So we've got 3 different serrations here with these little I don't know what you want to call these little spacers between them. So we ended up cutting all the way down in removing the second or the middle serration that's here. It's a real clean look, a little bit of leftover, a little bit of leftover on the bottom. It's a very flowing design with the existing pattern and not trying to mask and or remove the existing pattern. So we're trying to make something that works a little bit nice and goes extremely well with the gun. Let's talk about this side. So let's talk about those step downs. Why do we do the step downs? Why are we so far forward? So one of the main hurdles with the Springfield Hellcat is the serial number. So if you watch the beginning of the video, you're going to notice that the serial number is all the way out to the very end. It's like way up here. I don't know. They probably could have put it somewhere else. I don't think they probably really care where they put it. But what it does is it causes an issue for us. I am just straight up not that guy that's going to butcher, halfway cut through any kind of text, okay? It's always going to be removed. It's always going to look right. Attention to detail and overall fit and finish and quality is just, it's the highest on my list over anything else. I'll literally just take a project and say, I'm not doing it because you want me to cut halfway through a text. I'm just not going to do your project because I just can't do work that's like that. So this is why we did a step down and then another step down. It was mostly to get all the way up into where the serial number was at the front of the slide. And then we came back and we did a window. Now, one of the other reasons that we didn't just cut all the way up to the front here is because we did want to do the Cobra nose. So we ended up adding the Cobra nose. It does add a little bit of barrel exposure at the very end of the slide. I just kind of wanted to make sure that we are getting some sort of CNC work in here and a little bit more than just a side window. Once again, guys, these are really challenging when you decide what you want to do and how you want to do it, just because there's so much stuff here. There's a serial number. We don't butcher it. Some companies maybe we don't butcher it. There's text on the top, so there's a logo on the top. So you're going to run into a lot of different problems. And after the side windows and Cobra nose were done, I started looking at what are we going to do with the top. Right? We started talking about maybe we can do knurling, maybe we want to do a top window, maybe we want to do, you know, originally in the video, maybe we want to do raptor cuts. We went through a lot of different scenarios of what can we do. But when we get right down to the details of it, and we've got a side, window here, we start looking at rigidity. We start looking at structural failure over time. We start thinking about, you know, those aren't good ideas, and we're not going to put our customer in that position later on down the road. This is more than likely a carry piece. It's a small weapon, right? This probably is not a range toy for somebody. So we're going to get to the point where we're not going to sacrifice any kind of rigidity or future structural integrity just for cosmetic or grip texture or anything else. It just doesn't make any sense. So with that being said, good choices are honestly, it's probably 95% of why the reasons you guys use me, because I'm making choices for you and they're logical whether you believe in them or not. And we want to make sure that we're getting you set on the correct path of future, you know, so that we're not failing shortly in the future or even advance in the future. So with that being said, we have some definite issues with the top. So internally, can we do a window? Should we do a window? You know, what about knurling? Maybe we don't want to cut any holes. Let's do knurling, right? So a lot of the reasons why we didn't do anything on the top, one is that is without a doubt that logo. Okay, so we could have probably done the laser cut window that you see on our webpage now. Probably could have been added. Would have been pretty cool. Ultimately, I just don't think it fit the piece that well. It didn't flow that great with it overall. So I kind of skipped it. Now, one of the other options was, what about adding knurling on the top? You guys have seen us do knurling on the Glocks, on the M&Ps. We do it on the CCP-10. We've done it on some of the other wild ones out there, some of the SARs and things like that. The idea was that this front sight here has almost no gap between the top of the slide and the sight. So if you were to take your weapon, if you have one in hand, and you put it on its side, sometimes you can see through the front sight where it hangs over here. So, you know, you have the dovetail, then you have the top, and the sight itself would be, usually there's a gap between the sight and the actual top of the slide ever so slightly. Well, on this, there really isn't much of a gap. So you start talking about removing text and adding a knurling pattern, you start actually creating a gap there. So ultimately what ends up happening is it just kind of doesn't really look that great. So probably could have worked around that, not sure. I mean, if we're gonna do knurling and we're gonna do it right, we're gonna knurl all the way out, even into the top, into the front zone, up in front of here. We're also gonna do it down here. So it's gonna be a complete pattern if we're gonna do it. We're not gonna just kind of halfway do it and pretend we did it. That doesn't really fly with me very well. So that kind of moves us on to our coloring, okay? So the idea here is we wanted something that was gonna match the barrel, which we're gonna get to the barrel here in a moment. And what we did was everything was cleaned up, everything was, you know, sanded down, stripped down, sandblasted, and then coated our standard black. So just black was put on here. And the idea behind the Springfield Hellcats is that the barrel and the slide is stainless steel. So instead of doing a stainless tone to the black, we actually went with raw. So we did black, we sanded it down, and it came out really, really nice. We have a lot of detail here. Super durable black coating that we use. It's actually not Cerakote, it's a different product. We've gone through several different products over the last couple of months. We finally have settled on one that we just really like. It lays nice, it looks nice, and it's super durable. So it kind of was, it kind of met every one of those check boxes. And so we used that, we sanded it down, and then what we did in this particular case is we just ran a clear over it, because sometimes when you sand stuff down, it looks more like a milky-ish color where you've sanded it and the coloring itself looks, it doesn't really look like a true black. So we ended up running the same product in a clear, and this stuff is like super durable. Like it really just does not want to come off. So, you know, to be honest with you, it's a really nice setup for what this is going to be for a carry gun. Now guys, let's get into the barrel, and then this is going to explain a little bit more why the slide looks the way it is. So we're just going to set this here. We ended up taking the barrel. Once again, the barrel is a piece of stainless, and we stripped off the existing black, and we went right straight down to a diamond laser pattern and then a polish. So this is what it looks like. Of course, I will add a video and some other pictures here where I can maybe get it a little bit better. So really, really nice. The way that it looks and the way that it came out, it's a real clean look. So let's take a look and see what it looks like in here. See if we can get you guys a little bit better here. So this is one of the reasons why we want to do the Cobra nose. We want to have a little bit of barrel exposure here. The barrel does stick out the end, but we wanted to see some barrel. I wanted to see something, not just, you know, from the slide forward. I want to see a little bit more. So I do have the spring here. I'm going to put the spring in so we don't lose this barrel. See if we can get this guy in here. There we go. All right, guys. Well, you know, overall, I'm really pleased with the way that it came out. One of the other things I wanted to add, we're going to put some pictures in here. This project has kind of been going on for a little while. Laser work takes time. New stuff takes time to process. Of course, the barrel was done. The barrel was obviously polished. So there's a couple extra things that we don't typically do. This customer ended up sending us some stuff from their region of the country. Now, I'm not going to get into the great details. They're in a couple of different states that they have some property at and they live in and things like that. But we are going to show what they sent. We always like it when you guys send us something from your region. It gives us a little bit more of it shows a little bit more of your character, who you are, you know. And so we've got a lot of people that sometimes they'll just run down to a gas station and get a shot glass, or they'll get something that's local to them that really is found in that area of where they live, and then we'll put it in the video. So real big thanks to the customer for not only allowing us to take the time to build something new that we haven't done before, giving us the freedom of that build to get kind of just let those ideas flow and let them come out how naturally they should come out in our eyes, and then of course for sending us some extra stuff. Really appreciate just all the way across the board. Sometimes, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, we used to do a lot of these projects that were like this. We really would give. We would really encourage people just to send something in, and then of course we would go through the process of just kind of doing our own thing. And you know, we've really got away from that because we've had a lot of people that they kind of knew what they wanted and they didn't really want to say what they wanted, so they would say, hey, I'm gonna send it in and just have it done. But really, the true people that are like, do your thing and just let me know when it's done, almost always come out with some kind of a better a better design, a better piece in the end, because we're not restricted on what we do. You know, sometimes people are like, well, it has to have a top window, or it has to have front serrations, or it really has to have this cobra nose, like that style, or the barrel has to be colored like that. And sometimes when we start working around obstacles, not only manufacturer obstacles like we've seen here, but we start working around physical build characteristic obstacles, it starts to limit us on what we can do. What options do we have? So big thanks to this individual for just kind of, having that faith to be able to send that in, let us do our thing, and come back out with something that's like super, super cool. Guys, if you haven't been following us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, you should. We do have a sale that's technically running until Monday. You can catch that sale and how to apply that coupon code by going to our webpage, and then it'll save you some money during checkout. I'm going to give you a little hint here. We've got another sale coming up on the 4th of July, and sign up for our email alerts. Okay, we do not spam you. We don't really sell anything. The only time you're ever going to get an email from us is when there's a sale, and almost always that email that you get is a higher discount than what is actually proposed on the webpage if you didn't sign up. That's your hint of the video for watching to the end here. That's all I want to say. Okay, so sometimes you're going to save more money. Almost always you're going to save more money by being on our email alert than you are just dropping in and placing an order. Guys, if you haven't have any questions, feel free to email us. We do process all orders by email. You can text me, you can Facebook me, you can instant message me, you can leave a message on YouTube, but each and every one of those is going to take longer to actually get that order processed, because we're almost always asking for pictures. Are there any restrictions? Do you live in a state that we have to use an FFL because there's a frame involved? So all these other little things that are involved almost always will filter right back through onto email. So we have a record of what we're doing when it comes in. Everything's in black and white. We're going to process your order. We're going to get it turned around, and we're going to just get you in and get you out. Guys, if you haven't have any questions, just let us know, and definitely stand by, because we've got a couple more of the odd new ones coming down the pipe.